the first stuff I will do will be a little bit about. Oh, and I'm not going to go over these videos from the Imagineering in a Box. They're just talking about how Disney talks about characters and character types. They're here for later on if you want to watch them, but we don't have enough time in class to really get into them now. But I will talk about scenario. Scenario is what I've been using to generate all the images for class. For our prompts, this is our mycos and our biomes and whatever are all here. Our sins, our sparkies. All right, so I did them all here, and I've been messing around with it. I've been messing around with some other ones about how do we get these characters and how do we can we easily get them inside of the game engine. Again, this is a prototyping class. I'm not showing you how to make the most amazing special effects that render in real time. I am telling you how to how can we get representations that are more faithful than having to create an avatar that looks nothing like a cat. And if we're doing a cat, right, nothing more worse than putting a cat ears and say that's our cat. If you can actually get a cat in there, right? So or having a mushroom, or these characters. So. I've been actually pretty successful. So if you're just doing an image, we could bring in images, right? So they preserve transparency, and a lot of these things have what's called background subtraction. So here inside of scenario, for instance, this one's not hard. I can just select gray and get rid of it. But some of the stuff is pretty complicated AI background subtraction. Like when I did Sparky, I got Sparky removed from something that had a depth of field and everything, right? So I chose this one, and I said remove background. So this is, again, there's everything I want to do in AI. There's 5 different things that come up on my Google searches immediately, and they gave me some free examples, right? So I now have a 2K image of Sparky as a PNG, right? So that preserves transparency, and in the very least, I can get Sparky into my game engine. So I'm going to put everything into assets. We can do it in materials, and I'm going to bring in a texture for my PNG, and I'll make this lit just so it has a little bit more ambiance. So we have in my downloads, I'm going to look for the PNG I just saved as Sparky and drag it in. Cool. And see if we look it up Sparky, it has preserved a transparency, right? So if I right click on Sparky, I can say create material, and then I can put Sparky on a plane, right? Super simple stuff. Plane. Bring it up, rotate it, and then you might need to know what the resolution or what the aspect ratio is, and drag it on. All right, so now we have Sparky. Because I generated with AI, it's already square. And then in here, we need to adjust the material because right now it doesn't know about transparency. So this material. Do we want it to be lit, unlit? Do we want it to have glowingness? All this stuff is kind of cool. But the most important thing for this one is that it needs to have an alpha. So I want to include opacity. Of course, we haven't really done materials. But we did go over this like the week 3 of class. Make it masked. And then I can take this A for alpha into my opacity mask and then save. And then we come back here, boom. So my AI character's here inside of the game engine, and this is a way of just getting it, in there to address for the scene. It's not the greatest. It's very flat. There are some things that we can do to add a little bit more bang for our buck. I have not. There's a bunch of them actually. Again, looking through the world of things that are called image to material or image to bump map generators. There's tons of them. I found one, and most of them are for free, and a lot of them are very old. This is an older technique before we had stuff like nanite and stuff. So this is called Awesome Bump. It replaced the one called Crazy Bump, and there's also something else called whatever, Modular Bump, whatever. There's tons of these. The Photoshop, Substance, all these things do it, but those are paid. And I just try to keep it free whenever I can. So we'll just install this real quick. and I'll show you this process. Cool. So here's the awesome bump. Open it up. So in our material slots, we have all these things like metallic and specular and roughness. We can actually generate those from the main color. So if I take in take the load icon and grab for my downloads, grab Sparky, say OK, enable preview. Now I've created a normal map, right? This is something that talks about how shadows fall off of Sparky, and we have all of these different grayscale or sliders and stuff. We can really think about how we want to finesse it if we do care. So I don't know why. Let's recalculate from the current image. Let's go back up to normals. So there's Sparky. What is that going to do? So that Sparky is diffusion with a D on it. I don't want the initial logo. I was testing this on a Mac. Basic. Let's go over here. Recalculate current image. Input. Let's load in. Try again from Sparky. Current image. Let's go back to 3D. Diffuse to others. Enable preview. Yes. So you should all work. Convert. There we go. So now we have way too many things. Sorry, I forgot to hit the convert button. And now if we go to normal, we have normal maps, and we can save that. It'll put the N for normal. We can look at that's our specular. If we hover over here, it will say specular highlights in a second, or we hit save and we see an S for specular highlights. We add in that's our roughness, I do believe. So there, and that's a height map. All right, so we can go through all these different things and generate different, and that's ambient occlusion. That's how shadows fall into it. And then when we come back to Sparky, we have these things we can add in as well. And obviously, the better you are at materials, the more you can get into this stuff. But this gets a good bang for your buck, right? So this one is H, height map. That is world position offset. This one here, this one says Sparky. That's our original one. This one here is N for normal maps. That is right here for N for normal. Then here for specular. And here for ambient occlusion, all the way down here. So just by doing some quick stuff here, we now have a little bit more information for Sparky. It's still 2D, right? That's not very satisfying, though. Here, you can change this so that it's projecting on a flat surface. And we see that this is maybe a little bit better, but still not that interesting. So I'm going to do a material, and I'm going to call this one BP Billboard. And if anyone is familiar with how sprites or particles render out, they're called billboard materials. Like information you put on a billboard, you want to always have them facing the audience. So this might be super useful to say add billboard material. Then on this billboard material, what material? Let's add in our Sparky mat. Cool. Hit save, and then we throw this in the world. If we want to scale it, we go to the component for billboarding, and let's just right here, that's with the size. So let's just type in 100. and 100. Right, so it's not just the scale of the actor, it's a scale of whatever. That's just a little bit ridiculous to do 50. 50. So we have a Sparky, but look at this when I walk around. He always faces me. Right? So if you're talking about doing a small world, the characters always face you, done, taken care of, billboard material from AI, it's in my asset, it's a prototype, it's ready to go. Right? So I want to show that's a real quick way of doing things. You can also do movies. I'm not going to get into the whole, I just spent my morning someplace where they showed me all this video stuff. But you can also take your character, add in movement from another movie, and then you can apply movement to that character through things like open pose and control net and all that kind of stuff. If we get deeper into how do you create a moving image with your character, we can go to our content. We have to make a folder called movies. This is still the rule. Movies. Oops. Rename. It has to be called movies, and it has to be at the root folder. And then to find the easiest way to find that folder, to put my movie in, I'm going to say Show in Explorer. So now I have the empty folder for movies. In my downloads, I have an amazing video here. I don't know if you guys know great actors, but this is the actor Shia LaBeouf of the Transformers over.
Do it!
All right.
Just
So with it in that folder, I can now import it under Movies. And new for 5.3, you just drag it the fuck in, and there it is. So we now have Shia LaBeouf. It's not at the ratio that we want it to be. It is, we want it to be 16 by 9. So the way I cheat that is I say 1.6 by 0.9. And then I lock the ratio. And that way as I scale them up, they scale up proportionally. And then if I hit play, it should just play. All right, so there he is. Cool. Now, that's not good enough for us. We want to be able to actually take out the green. And I also noticed that it doesn't matter for me to scale it. It scales its own self, which is awesome. So we can make from this, we can create a media texture and a material so we can chroma key it. Play on open media plate. So there it is. This is our media plate component, but we could take this and here and go into media player. Sure. And then from the media player, it will go to the texture. This texture can then go to a material. And then this material can be, we'll rename this Shia. Cool. So in here, we can play a media source that goes into a texture.
Do it!
That goes into a material.
just do it!
Usually with video, you
Don't
want to
let
be
your
unlit.
dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just
And then go
do
into
it!
emissive. But
Make
wait, there's
your
more.
dreams
There's
come
just a
true!
thing for chroma key.
Just do it! Some people dream of success while you're going to
There you
wake
go.
up and work hard at it. Nothing is
And then
impossible.
we can make it masked
You should get to the
and then
point
get opacity.
where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No,
Preview it.
what are you waiting for? Do
It
it!
doesn't look like it's actually getting opacity from there.
Just
And put UV.
do it! Yes, you can!
There.
Just do it!
We could just do this probably too. That's funny.
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
Let's do translucency. How about that? So instead of mask, we're going to do translucent, and then we'll try this. Well, that's the exact opposite. So whenever you want to do the opposite of something, you say 1 minus, and do the opposite of it. not the best. I'll have to take a look at this one. Chroma key. There's also other ones. Image color. Alpha. Want to move on. Display alpha, image color. Oh, he's done playing. I gotta go back here. Start the Shia again.
Do it! Just do it!
You can
Don't
also
let
say
your
start
dreams
previewing
be
it here.
dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
And then stop previewing.
Some people dream of success
one
while you're
minus.
going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible.
Let's go back to
You should get to the point
Mast.
where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for?
and then
Do
in
it!
our opacity mask settings,
Just
we have
do it!
the percentage
Yes,
of
you can! Just do it!
maskiness.
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
Advanced. There we go. No. I wait for it to compile. Seems to always be doing the opposite of what I want it. Anyway, on black should be fine for right now. 3, 3, 3, 3. Let's just go into both. Anyway. And then Shia can always be looking at us. And wherever we go, who's watching us. How do we just get rid of black? That should be super easy. This is black. And that's right here. Alright, well, I'll come back to it. It's one button away. We're going to move on. I don't know if we were going to be doing video in the first place. So, going back to my list, we have, we've already done awesome bumps, so we know how to do that with the textures. So let's take a look at our AI characters. One other thing we can do is my scenario. I also was able to generate a character. I did another Sparky. I did this Sparky this morning, I did this Sparky this morning, and the prompt was arms outstretched, facing forward, full frame. Right? You can't tell it T-pose; it doesn't know what that is. A pose just thinks it's any pose. Put it in a pose. You need to say arms outstretched, arms extended, arms. Like there's a bunch of Reddit posts on how the best to do this, and here I was able to get this character as a front-facing image, and then from there. I just had this open. I don't know where I put it. I put this in the link last week, and then, but yeah, sure. I was already here. My models. I was able to put in this image, and in 5 minutes, I had this character. I tried T-pose, didn't work. Okay. Cool. You're not in this class. You can go. A-pose doesn't work for sure. Anyway, so I was able to get the 3D model. It's not the greatest, but you can export for Unreal, retopologize, say high quality, and what format. I chose FBX because this doesn't have a rig yet. From there, you could take it to Mixamo. And then when you upload the character, it gives you an opportunity to rig it. You just point out where the wrists are, where the hips are, whatever, and then you have your character in all of 3D, right? So again, as a prototyping thing, this is super fun. And first, if you're gonna bring it to Unreal Engine, when you first upload it, you say download, it'll automatically put it into a T-pose for you. If you start messing around with it, you'll have to actually put it back into a T-pose. So put it back into a T-pose by searching for T-pose. And then there we go. A little funky, for sure. We're going to do it with skin, because that would just be cruel not to let it have its own skin. And say download. It'll download the file as the animation. The animation in this case is T-pose. We're going to rename that to be a different character. And then we can start looking for other animations. So what is important for our character probably is that he does a catwalk. There we go, download. And now we won't need to have any skin, because we're going to apply motion capture data essentially to the skin. Cool. And then we have another folder for assets. And we can make a folder for skeletal meshes. And let's go ahead and drag and drop, rename the character from T-pose to, this is not Sparky, this is Sporky. Cool. Default settings is fine with me. Import all. And then take that animation that I have called Catwalk. I'm going to clean that up a little bit and call it Catwalk 2 or something. And then bring it in and tell it what mesh to put it on. Because it's the same folder, it knew that it was Sporky. So I say import all. And now we have Sporky in here as well. And we preview. Pretty gratifying. Have fun. Go AI, whatever you want to do. Cool. The other thing that's super easy barrier to get into is Ready Player Me. This is it's more humanoid. It's more what do you call it? It's more like what you'd say it's. I want to do this one. It's more like Fortnite. But it's a character generator. It's pretty easy. You can either customize a certain thing, look at all your avatars. I have like 19 avatars apparently. Create a new one if you want one from scratch. You take a picture of yourself. And then, do you want to randomize? You want to take a picture of yourself? I can randomize it. All right, randomize. Say next. And then now, we're going to customize that look. And we can think about all the different crazy characters. So not the greatest. Again, if you have a cat, you could probably find some cat ears and add in, some sort of, like hopefully you have a panda, and then you're maybe taken care of with a panda. It's more biped. And then from here we could say next. And then download it. It is going to download as what's called a GLB file, which is optimized for the web. We're going to call this guy Sparky. This should be Sparky for all I care. Sparky has a panda suit on today. And then Sparky can have its own things going on. It can also be, okay, so you now have the asset. This is the GLB import. It looks a little different. Same thing. Bring it in. And now you have your whole character with materials. The materials look really nice. It's going to bother me that I was lazy and I put these two in the same folder. I'm going to have to like clean it up later on. You find your asset, which is going to be a skeletal mesh that's pink. And now right click this and say export. And grab yourself an FBX of it now. And that FBX will work in Mixamo. Again, everything's default. And then in Mixamo, upload character. And from my downloads, find actual Sparky. Great, I don't know which one it is, because I don't see extensions. There you go. And then it'll upload, and I can add animations the same way. Download them without skin. This didn't open up because I think I uploaded the GLB. Let's. And then download it without skin, add it into the animations. It's already rigged. It already has bones in it, right? So it's already ready to go. It doesn't matter if you don't need textures because you've already done the textures, right? So it has its own catwalk. Oops, I didn't say use this character. You get the idea. I have to upload it again. Running out of time, so I'm trying to be quick with things. Cool. So characters are taken care of to a degree. We can get some sort of proximity of them in there as images, movies, and or avatars. And then they can just kind of loop around. In your sequencers, you don't have, you can have them just not loop. You can also just have them you can also embed them in, and that way only at a certain part of the ride do they actually do their animation, right? So this catwalk animation, which is really sporky, only here do I want it to actually start the animation of catwalk. And that way it's just waiting for us, and then at this point it does it, it launches into its thing for our story, right? So that's how you would wait until it gets to the little vignette where they're telling that story beat, and then all its action unfolds on the timeline, right? In the same way, you can add in your video. You can add in a what's called a media track, and that media track can be just do it, and then it can also scrub. Let's see, let's not do that one. Let's do media plate. Great. Cool. I just want to make sure it's working. I'm just kind of making this stuff up. Let's just see. Oh, there he goes. He's down here. It's this green one. The other one was a material. So he's doing it. All right, let's just take that. And let's do the other one. Properties. Just do it. We need to choose what texture it's going to. There we go. Cool. Are you gonna freak out on me? There we go. So there's Shyla doing it over there. Great. Moving on. Cool. So we'll get into levels visibility stuff a little bit later on, like next week we need more levels. Right now, I am going to get rid of this media plate because boy is that operating slow on this laptop. And let's talk about raycasting because that's the fun stuff. Recover. Shift, control, escape. Cool. Don't need it. Don't need it. All right, and let's do raycasting real quick. So what we're going to do is, you know, the way video games kind of first developed is they were like two-dimensional, and then to understand like early games like I want to say Wolfenstein or Quake, because they knew where forward vector was, they knew where horizontal was, how you could be perpendicular from, and then the rest of 3D geometry started getting added in. But it's something that we know. It's the forward vector of the camera or of controllers. And so the way you would do controllers is you would add a motion controller component to a blueprint, and we can do that through a workshop later on. Today I'm going to do it just from the camera, which is the way I prototype normally, is just being able to WASD within an environment. So let's start off with our level blueprint, and we want to look from ourselves, know which way we're looking, and look only a certain distance. And this is called raycasting in its most basic form. In Unreal, it's called line tracing. That's just what the function is in C++. But if you want to generic the term, it's raycasting. And you can get a lot of information from this. So first we need to get a generic kind of camera, and the camera manager is the root level of whatever I'm seeing is the camera manager. It's the easiest way to talk about all cameras, just whatever I'm seeing. And I need to know where I'm at, so get world location. And I need to know which way this transform component's looking. So where I am, and then which way I'm facing. So get my world rotation, and from here I have my forward vector. I know which way I'm looking rotationally. All right? And I need to know where I'm looking from here to a distance from me. Right? How far is that distance? Well, for right now, let's look 1,500 centimeters. So we'll do a multiply. I'll convert this vector into an integer and just say 1,500 centimeters in front of me. And now these two numbers, this is now which way I'm looking, 1,500 centimeters in front of me, and then from what location? From this location, from where I'm standing. Cool. Cool. So let's plug this in to a thing called line trace by channel. There's a lot here with line trace by channel. We'll try to keep it simple. Where we're starting, our own location, where we're looking, 1,500 centimeters down our rotation, and let's look every frame on tick. And to be able to see where we're looking, let's go ahead and debug draw the whole time. Has anyone done line tracing before? It's super fun. So, if I look through, I'm in regular play game mode, I'm not in VR, so I can say select the viewport, and I'm shooting out this thing in front of me. Right? And if it hits something, it makes a little box there, and when it misses, it just shoots off into nothing, and that's where it's hitting 1,500 centimeters in front and not having anything. Cool? So, what can we get from this? Tons. If we go back out here and say break out hit results, what time I'm hitting it, how far it is from me, what its location, what angle at which I'm hitting it, what is its material, what is its name, what are the components on it, does it have a bone? All these things are really lightweight for you to get, and you could be doing line traces all the time. So if right now I want to see what the other actor is, I can reach off from here and say print to, so I'll say print screen, print string. It's a other actor, what are you? It's going to give me the display name. And maybe I only want to know the name of something if I actually hit it. So I'm going to say branch for a if statement, and only if it's a blocking hit, give me the print strings to clean it up a little bit. So now if I hit play, I know that I'm hitting wall 5, wall 1, hitting that plane, hitting Sporky. Right, there's Sporky is called Catwalk in this instance. Ball, Shia, just do it, just do it, just do it. Right, so I know what these things are, and I could say, if I hit a thing that equals this, do something with it, blow it up, do whatever. What's easier to do is, instead of saying I want to look for all the names, is I just want to look at the locations at which I'm hitting things, right? So let's print out instead the location. Cool. So now I'm going to get X, Y, and Z of the thing I'm hitting. It's such chaos. I love it. Cool. So what do you want to do with those locations? Well, what do we have in here for particles? We'll find out in a second. So from here, when I hit something, I only want to do something when I'm actually hitting a button. So I'm going to say keyboard, and this will be your buttons on your controllers. Keyboard, say Q, or keyboard spacebar. How about that? Spacebar. When I hit spacebar, what I want to do is spawn an emitter at a location. What is that location? Well, we know what the location is. What is the emitter? I have fire. There we go. So I'm looking, and I want to hit that thing. Oh, spacebar. Boom. Fire's happening now. I'm spawning a thing at the fire. Cool. Now that wasn't very gratifying because there wasn't really a sound. So there's a whole series of these things. Spawn sound at location. What is the sound I want? I don't know. What do I have in here? Weapon fire. That's fine. And where's the location? Double click on this little node to make a reroute. Bring it up in here. And now, I don't even think I have my speakers on. Let's see. Not the greatest example. Oh, cool. I ejected. That's the camera. Okay. Sorry, it doesn't take much to entertain me. So cool. Let's make a kind of a blueprint. Make it called BP ball. Do I have BP ball? We make it from scratch. Add in a sphere. And make the sphere simulate physics. And it's really heavy by default. It's like 100 kilograms. I'm going to make it lightweight. Or lighter in weight. And bring it out here. So now by default, if I hit simulate, you see I have a ball that just falls down. Right, I already had balls over there. Great. So what I want to do now is apply some sort of destructive force. Always. Where's my sound? Let's go to here and add in a spawn. We want radial damage. Apply radial damage. Where's the origin? Well, that's my location. How big is the radius? 200 centimeters seems fine for me. And how much damage? It's always more than I think it's going to be. Let's start with 1,000,000. So now I'm pushing this thing around, right? I can also say, when it gets hit, make it destroy, make it explode, all these kind of things. I included a tutorial that has more about getting hit and being moved around and stuff. But I think the last component that I really want to add in is making what's called a decal. We'll do one more apply or spawn a decal at location. What's the location? What's the size? I don't know just yet. Let's say 50 by 50 by 50. And then rotation. Rotation is finding the impact normal. Or normal, either one. That's the rotation of how it's hit. Drag that off there. Cool. And you can make it the material only is you can make it the size as big as the force or the distance. So you can make it all interactive. Decals are a special kind of material. I'm gonna go find our skeleton mesh, find our Sparky which I put under materials. There we go, Sparky mat. I'm gonna copy paste. And this one, underneath type, I'm going to say domain. Domain. It is a deferred decal. Now it'll only give us information on the world position offset. That seems weird. It's going to say we have to change it to be not masked, opaque. Let's start from scratch. Delete. Decal. And let's do additive. From color. Blend mode. Translucent, alpha composite, or modulate. So there we go. Alpha composite sounds good to me. Which will look like that. So now our template can be Sparky 1. And as I hit play, alright? This is how you draw on walls, right? This is how you do graffiti. You just say, as long as I'm holding down something, emit it, right? Yeah, effigies of Sparky sideways. Obviously, we fix the rotation. I don't know why by default the rotation was like that. It was like -90. Just go to 0. Decals are interesting. They have... That is definitely the wrong rotation. See, here I go telling a group not to use guns. And the first thing I do is make a gun when I have a chance. Totally uncool, Todd. Great. Great. So that's an idea. And that in fact we can knock things over, move things away, destroy things, and these can be with the controllers. We're out of time, so let me just quickly add in the optimization view modes that in your lit mode, as you're building stuff, look at these optimization view modes, and it'll tell you if your, for instance, your quad overdraw means that you have too many polygons, right? And it gives you an easy meter to say, oh, that's too big. That has too many polygons. Let's fix that. Let's reduce that. I can show you ways of doing that to fix it, but I think first we need to identify what's wrong. The same thing is like if you have way too many lights, right? So my issues is I have way too many lights. I might want to bake these lights or make my lights unmovable, not movable or something, right? Because we want them to be interactive. So we can look at our point lights, and if I make them movable, then it's all out of the whack, right? Movable is way too much information for it to do shadows and all that kind of stuff in real time. So I can either put it static, and then you can go over to your build and build your lighting. It'll take a little while, but that what it'll do is embed all the lights as textures, and you're not actually calculating textures. The quickest way to do all this stuff to get increased performance is to go to every single light you have and just tell it to turn off shadows. Shadows are what are hard to calculate. So cast shadows, turn off. What's happening right now is I'm getting rid of the light bake. There's already is a bake scene in here. Other things worth looking at is shader complexity. That's if your materials have too much transparency. Transparency is bad to have a whole lot of. So sometimes assets like leaves and grass are bad, and they are causing the problems. And the last place I would point you towards is the, I think it's under tools now. Oh, there it is, audit statistics. Statistics is a way of looking at your texture sizes and your polygon counts. So I can here go to how many triangles does this character have, and this is the whole scene. So like Sporky has 36,000, which is not so bad. But if I had 15 of Sporkies, then you'd see how it start adding up. So you see how many counts things are. There's 18 small cubes. So sure, there are only 12 triangles, but there are 216 total because there's 18 of them in here. So here's a way of identifying things that might be like, oh shit, this is 2 million polygons. That's got to go. So we can figure out that kind of stuff. And then the other thing I like to look at is textures. And you can see that you have, if you sort it by maximum dimensions, you can see that you have, oh, that's an 8K texture and it's this big on my screen. Maybe it only needs to be 1K. So you're using these huge image files that are slowing down your progress. So here's the places to stop. There are little hyperlinks, so I can click on things. It opens up those assets. And the same thing as primitives. I go here. It'll find me the assets. And then I can edit these things. I can find I don't have anything that's interesting in here just yet. But then you can start talking about how you can do reduction. And you actually have a reduction configurator in here. It's called Simplygon. It was acquired 10 years ago. It had an Academy Award. You could say, I would literally want this thing to be 10% of as many triangles it used to be. You apply changes, and then now it's already been reduced. And this used to be a whole separate tool, and it just does it inside the engine now. This is a way of changing it wholesale, but you can also just say, generate more LODs, levels of detail, and it'll create a series of them and switch them out if you get close to them. They'll be higher resolution, and it'll be lower resolution if you get further away. All right, so I don't think I can undo, but I can always come back. All right, 100, apply, it's back, it looks nice, and then I can say what kind of LOD is it. Oh, I'm going to be using this as a large prop. Then it will reconfigure, think about it, and it's now created a bunch of different LODs, right? So when you get, if we go to wireframe, you can see that as I switch between them, it reduces the polygon count. And if I go to auto, you see that the Game Engine Smart that switches them out. I'm at LED 2, LED 1, LED 0. So that's up here. It tells you the screen percentage, and it swaps them out for you. So if you haven't created LEDs for like really high resolution things that you're never interacting with, start creating these things so they can start being more optimal. Cool. And I could come up with some more ways of optimizing for each individual case basis, but this is the way to go. Is to be able to see all of them. There's lots of cool ways you can look at your scene. That's all good for VJing. Cool. That's it. So we're not going to review homework next week. We're not going to do pitches. We're just going to come in, watch Barbecue Dave. I'm going to do another bigger, longer thing, so I'm not running out of time, so I can make sure I talk about everything, and then we'll just break into groups for the rest of the semester, pretty much, and just work. So come to me and talk to me as you need, but that gets us started. Cool.